Them answer. Whole heap of artists Clinton bring come up America. Some never know second and Lindsay a promoter. Bring up the biggest set of artists from Jamaica. Like Super Cat and Mr. Early be the doctor. Whole heap of artists love for them me can't remember. Who can remember when them used to keep Jamaica? The kind of show that used to give out of a water. To reggae artists from the world and from Jamaica. New York City where him used to do the radio.
Hi, good evening and welcome to Reflections with Clinton Lindsay right here on Flexx FM. And today's program, gonna have a special guest as usual. My special guest today will be Marlon Burrell. And later down, we'll be talking to Brother Mitch with a major discussion we're gonna have, myself, Marlon, and Brother Mitch. Also coming up, the top 30 songs according to the Foundation Radio Network, and of course, the South Florida Top 25. So sit tight, relax, and relax yourself. We'll be back after this first break with my special guest, Marlon Burrell.
Ladies, are you looking for healthcare that's personalized and empowering? Socorro Women's Health provides holistic care that enables you to take charge of your health goals. Dr. Winston L. Alexis and nurse practitioner Monique Alexis collaborate to provide patient care based on evidence and experience. Socorro Women's Health offers well visits, physicals, prenatal care, STD testing, and much more. For more information on our services, visit our website at www.socorrowomenshealth.com. That's SAKURA, womenshealth.com. Come on in and start your health journey with us today. We're located at 150 Northwest 70th Avenue, Suite 7, Plantation. Or call us at 954-850-2344. That's 954-850-2344.
Hi, welcome back to Reflections with Clinton Lindsay. And as promised, my special guest, the one and only Marlon Burrell. Marlon, good afternoon. Welcome to Reflections.
Good to be here, Mr. Lindsay.
Now, our history go way back to our days in New York City.
Yes, yes.
Now we are no resident of the state of Florida, but we actually met while we were in New York.
Right.
Just for the benefit of the viewers and for those who may not know, our story, take us back to, what year was that?
2002. 20 years ago.
20 years ago. Oh my goodness. What happened?
Basically, I was kind of working on getting into radio and being a veteran yourself, and someone who was an inspiration to me wanting to be on radio in the first place. I just decided to give you a call and see what advice you had and kind of tell you what my idea was, and you just kind of took me out from there and basically put me on radio.
Yeah. Well, you came with an idea for a program that at the time wasn't the norm. And I didn't even know there was an audience for that sort of a radio. You wanted was to have a reggae gospel show.
Yeah.
And in 2002, that was unheard of.
Yeah.
You convinced me. Did you?
Well, I didn't really have to convince you. I just kind of told you what my idea was, and you was like, whoa. So you asked me to do a demo, and I did a demo of, some of these songs I would play, and I think that's what convinced you.
Because, at that time there was a movement in gospel music.
Right.
At that time.
And I felt that enough of it wasn't being played on radio.
Right.
It was largely ignored on radio. So.
Right. It was, because...
And that's where I felt that I could come in and make a difference.
Right. Because what happened, yeah, people used to, Stitchy and Papa San and Junior Tucker and Carleen and Judy. But I think the industry was afraid to touch them now that they're doing gospel. Yeah,
it was kind of a battle on both sides, because the church folks were saying, well, yes, it just sounds like reggae.
Right, that is true.
And and I think people who were not in church were more accepting, because the quality of music and the production, the standard was still high. It's just that the message was different. Lyrically, it was different, and people gravitated to it.
Yeah, I was surprised the first time I put you on that night. You were supposed to get like 15 minutes.
No, actually, you gave me an hour. You said you had a 2-hour program.
And I gave you an hour?
You told me to take the second hour.
Oh, wow.
And see where it
was. I drunk? I told her to take the second hour.
Yeah, you were on, your slot was 2 to 4 a.m.
Right.
And you told me to take the 3 o'clock slot.
So now, and I remember people were calling in.
Yes.
That was another changer for me, that when people were calling in, said, no, man, them tune have to play on radio and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, and as a matter of fact, within the general audience was very receptive, but the fraternity, the radio fraternity at the time, was very supportive.
Yes.
Because the other DJs started calling me, asking me for this song and for that song, because they weren't familiar with it.
Right.
And so it kind of took off from there.
But before you came to me, you were dabbling in what, in radio in Pennsylvania? Or?
No, Pennsylvania came after. Actually, my first foray into radio was at Lehman College in 1993.
Okay. What happened there?
So basically, as a student, they have a campus radio station.
Right.
It's a 30-watt AM station, WHLC, and the majority of the audience, however, was closed circuit, because 30 watts doesn't go
far. Especially in Manhattan, with those big buildings.
Actually, in the Bronx.
In the Bronx.
Right off between Kingsbridge Road and Bedford Park Boulevard. Over on Jerome Avenue.
Right.
Yes. So, but the audience was mostly closed circuit. We were on in like the bookstore, the gymnasium, the cafeteria, places like that. Right. And that's where I got my initial experience.
Now, one of the things that sort of surprised me with you is the fact that you're not only a person that wanted to be on radio then, but the knowledge and the history of the industry. I was shocked when you display that you want to learn as much about the industry, the players in the industry.
Yeah.
Where did you get that from?
Well, you're largely responsible.
Me? Go ahead.
Without you knowing. Well, I used to listen to you on radio as a kid.
Right.
And, I used to stay up. Used to go to bed early and then set my alarm.
And, so many people did that.
2 o'clock in the morning. And the fact that you had the artists on the station to tell their story, their background, I was very interested in that. So
didn't you get blowback from your parents with your young man should be sleeping, you're up listening to Clinton and Lindsay?
Yeah. My mother wasn't happy about that, but for the most part, she wouldn't even know. Because I had one of those little alarm clock radios by my head.
So you just put in the headphone and you're ready to go.
Yeah, and then later on I had a Walkman. And
and since then I moved to Florida, and within 2 years, it's about 4 years you called me.
You came here about 2003.
Okay.
And I came here 2007.
And Marlon called and said, Mr. Lindsay, I'm on my way to Florida. And I'm like, what? And he came down, and the station I was on, of course, I brought him on. And no, you are one of the most sought after historians in the business. When I need to know something I call you. You have this thing about, like when you go to a concert, and I think I've told you, for me, I don't go backstage much. I go in the crowd to see. But when you go to a concert, you go to corner the veteran artists and ask them to tell you their stories.
Yeah, well, basically, I just try to, you know, I've been listening to many of these artists for so long, for as long as they've been recording music. And a lot of times I just want to meet them. And yes, you do ask certain questions, and, you know, there are certain things that might not be clear, and I would want to know. So I would ask questions, and I find that especially the more veteran artists, they love to tell their story.
And why that's so important where you are concerned? Because a lot of misinformation is out there.
That's exactly why I like to
and non-information too.
Yeah, because a lot of times, you know, we're living in the information age. There's a lot on the internet. And I find that when you Google certain things, or when you look online and find certain information, you might take it as accurate, and later on you find out, well, this part wasn't so, and this part isn't true. And talking to these artists,
give us an example of that.
It kind of debunks.
Can you give us an example of something that we thought was true, and then after a while you discover? Because a lot of times you call, hey, Mr. Lindsay, guess what I found? And I know what that means. But guess what I found? I know it's something unusual, something that maybe me and everybody else had it wrong. Give us an example of what you would find. Like you I guess a couple months ago you called me about that Ken Booth song.
Oh, that John Holt tune.
Well, the John Holt song with
OK Fred.
OK Fred.
Yeah.
No, all my life I thought it was a John Holt song.
I did too.
Yeah. How do you make such discoveries, though?
Well, actually, that comes from networking.
Networking.
Because, you know, people who have a thirst for the knowledge and the history of our music, you know, we tend to network and share information. You know, so that came from a brother named Thomas Jordan, who happens to be a professor of history in Canada. So he's the one who made that discovery. Yeah.
So you joined the chat room with those guys?
Yes. Yes. And a lot of times, you know, we text each other and ask questions. If there's something I'm not clear on, I can ask one of them. And
you also dedicate a lot of time into finding out who actually writes a song, or the copyright.
Yeah.
Why is that so important?
Because one thing that used to annoy me when I buying a record, seeing adapted.
Yeah. You know, he didn't write it.
Who is adapted?
Who is adapted?
You know, who is copyright control?
Yeah.
You know, I like to see whoever wrote the song, because a lot of times I find that producers tend to just credit the artist with writing the song and putting it on the record, only to find out that the artist that did the song is not the writer. Another artist might write it. A good example of that would be John Holt again with Strange Things. For years, we've always thought strange things are happening on a Friday night. Since he did the original version, everybody thinks it's a John Holt song. But Horace Andy wrote that song.
Whoa.
They were both at Studio One, and Mr. Dodd just thought he was the best person to sing the song.
But so it was Horace Andy's composition.
Yes.
But Mr. Dodd thought that John Holt would be the better singer.
Yes. Okay. And according to Horace Andy, he went to Phil Pratt and the exact same thing happened.
So let me ask you this, Marlon. When you approach a veteran artist that could be your father, your grandfather, do they say, well, little boy, this you that come ask me, how do they react to your inquiries?
Yeah, like I get a lot of Oh, you know that. You never Oh, you know to ask me that.
Yeah.
You know, I get a lot of that. And I find that they are more willing to talk because someone who is from another generation is interested in their story.
Right. Now, the famous one that I'm going to tell you guys, the famous one. There was Barry Salmon had album release at VP retail store in Miramar. It was in Miramar here in Florida.
Yeah.
And Marlon went because, you know, usually he will report to me or he would go and let me know. And when the thing was over, Barry Salmon was in the back and Marlon went in and started talking to Barris and question Barris about everything from the damn barn. And a man shout out to Barris, "Yo, Barris! This is a walking encyclopedia." Yeah, Barris, me know.
So I find out.
I find out. That was so you can't what did you want to know from Barris? Barris was
it was just general conversation, you know.
Yeah.
You know, just one thing lead to another. I find that when you sit down with an artist, no matter what the conversation is, it's inevitable that the subject of music will come up.
Right.
And how the real conversation happened with Barris, we were like outside standing up and something went by and he just hummed something about it. And I said,
not in your presence.
Just like that. That's how you do it. And you know, I started, just questioning him about his songwriting process, and then one thing led to another.
What have you found out in your research that surprised you? What have you found out about the industry that really shocked the heck out of you?
To learn that a lot of the artists were not aware of copyrights and were not properly compensated for their work. I was shocked when I found, and I know it happens in all genres, but I was just surprised that at the percentage of the artists who were basically being ripped off over the years.
Wow. And that goes across the board. Even to this day, when you think of cases, and I said to you over and over, when you think of a lawsuit against a reggae artist, is whenever that song gets to be on the international.
Gets big internationally, right.
Why don't they go after them locally?
Because generally reggae music normally does not sell the amount of units that would make it worthwhile, because the process is very expensive for court costs and entertainment attorneys and so forth. So whatever they would recoup from a Jamaican artist would not be worth their time. They might end up owing their lawyers or court fees or whatever. So
there are cases, to what you just said, where we have seen where that Jamaican song, let's say, "Someone Loves You, Honey."
Classic example.
Classic. That's like the first for the benefit of the viewers. Give us, in your short word, how did that happen? What happened there?
Well, basically, "Someone Loves You, Honey," J.C. Lodge recorded in 1980. And internationally, it did very well. It was the #1 record of the year in the Netherlands for the year 1982.
Whoa.
About 2 years after it was recorded. I mean, when I say it was the #1 selling record, it outsold everybody. The Michael Jacksons, the Lionel Richies, everybody. So, as a result, the writer of the song, Don Devaney, decided to go after his royalties.
Of course.
And he was not properly credited on the record as the writer to begin with. And so...
Who was credited?
There are different presses, and some of them say adapted. Some of them credits Charlie Pride, who had a #1 country hit with the song. But the song was actually written by Don Devaney. But the one that really shut it down was, there was a press that had Joe Gibbs as the writer.
Yeah. And Joe Gibbs, the producer of the song. Right.
Well, some would say executive producer.
Again, yes, executive producer.
Yeah.
So Joe Gibbs now took it on himself to go to collect royalties.
And I think that's what did him in court, because not only did he have his name on as the writer, but they found that he had actually collected songwriting royalties. And so that eventually put him out of business. And that's why, from like 1984 onwards, you wouldn't find any Joe Gibbs productions.
And other cases after that. And I read a disc jockey. How do you see the standard of the music today?
I think we still have good music being put out. I hear a lot of complaints that good music is not being made anymore. But I think we are having a lot of good music. I just think there's an oversaturation of material that we receive. So the good songs might not necessarily get the justice it deserves in terms of airplay and exposure. And so a lot of them fall by the wayside. But good music is still being made.
And I know you dabble in playing instruments. What do you play?
Well, I'm a recreational musician.
What the hell is that?
I just play for my own, for my own amusement.
And sometimes I hear a rhythm and it sounds like that one over there, and it sounds, and I have to call you to say, man, what rhythm is this? And you say, oh no, they just change the bass line or then put in something. Is that a way of trying to cover up, not paying royalties, or just being creative?
Not necessarily, it's being creative. Sometimes you might use a bass line and you might add something, maybe a horn line or, something different to make it different, increase the tempo, or just do something to it to make it different, give it a different flavor.
Now, tell us where you can be found, because when I listen to you, I learn so much. Where can you be found now?
I can be found online reggaeglobalradio.com, and my broadcast is Mondays and Wednesdays, 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern Time. And I'm carried by several other networks, including the Foundation Radio Network, rockthebox.net, One Harmony Radio, 25th Century Radio, Iris Zion Radio, Global Links Radio, Tony Robb Network, and Glue FM.
All right, so that's Marlon. You can check him out. And I want to thank you for this moment, because you're coming back with join us in the discussion with Brother Mitch.
Yeah.
So Marlon, thank you very much. And
my pleasure to be here, Mr. Lindsay.
Okay, so that's Marlon Burrell, our first guest for today's program, Reflections with Clinton Lindsay. And gonna take a break. When we come back, it will be the South Florida Top 25 Countdown with the one and only TC from Flexx FM. We'll be right back after these words.
Yes, it's that time of year. It's tax time. Do you know where to get your taxes done? Don't worry. Blair's Management Tax and Accounting Services is the place for you. This is Nigel Blair. With over 26 years of experience in the tax and accounting field, we have what it takes to prepare your taxes the right way and to make sure you take advantages of all your tax deduction and all your tax credits and get you back the maximum amount of refunds possible. So don't delay. Call us today at 954-934-5700. That's 954-934-5700.
Come make me tell you about the things them way I want, sir. Back in the days when the dancehall used to warm, sir. When Clinton Lindsay used to bust them, make them want, sir. Whole heap of artists Clinton bring come up America.
Thank you, Mr. Lindsay. Hi, I'm TC Flexx from Flexx TV, and I'm here to count down the 25 most played song on the South Florida's reggae chart, which is compiled by veteran broadcaster Clinton Lindsay.
Now, let's take a look at the 25 most played song in South Florida. Coming in at number 25 this week is Bad Card by Nadine Sutherland featuring DJ Liquid. Coming in at number 24, Heart to Heart with Hopeton Lindo. Holding the 23 spot, Take Highway, Manapana featuring Exile. Number 22, Honey, I Love You, Tony Roy. Coming in at 21 this week, Glory to Jah, Michael Rose. Number 20, If You're Not Back in Love by Monday, Susan Sultry. Number 19 this week, TikTok, I'm Coming, Hezron. Holding steady with the number 18 spot, Statue of a Fool, Carl Darkins. Number 17 this week, Don't Let Go, Ginger. Moving steadily up the chart to number 16 is Import Corruption by Paul Elliott. Number 15, Dear Mr. Government, Sugar. Holding the number 14 spot, Cornerstone with the Marley Brothers. Number 13, Easy on Me, Carl Jacobs. Number 12, You Make Me Feel Brand New, Leroy Sibbles featuring Marcia Griffiths. Number 11, My Best Boy, Close to You, Joanna Marie. And now, here's a synopsis of the top 10 songs on the South Florida Top 25 Reggae Chart Countdown. Was number 11 last week, moved one place up the chart to number 10 this week. I'm talking about the forever hitmaker, Burning Spear, with a song entitled Mummy on the Burning Spear music label.
Daddy loses his job, mommy get laid off. Filling out application, don't mean you might get that call. It's a long line waiting to get that call. What can these parents do to prevent their kids from falling?
After spending 3 weeks at the number 1 spot, was number 6 last week, moved 3 places down to number 9 this week. I'm talking about Barry Salmon featuring Wicker Man on the Harmony House label with Medea Again. After spending 11 weeks on the chart, was number 8 last week, steadily holding number 8 spot this week. I'm talking about Chaka Demus with Bill Bridges on the Bright Star production label.
We all have to come together, build bridges for one another.
Was number 9 last week, coming in at number 7 this week. I'm talking about Valley with Richard Stevens on the Boom Rich production label.
Valleys will teach you lessons that Hilltop knows nothing about. Lay there and listen carefully. You'll know who wanna get you out. You know your friends then when you're caught up in adversity.
Was number 7 last week, moved 1 place up the chart to number 6 this week. I'm talking about Saving All My Love For You with King Bunton on the Crunch Down Click worldwide label.
So I'm saving all my love. Yes, I'm saving all my love for you.
Was number 5 last week, still hold the number 5 spot this week. I'm talking about Good Woman with Romain Virgo on the Lifetime Music /VP record label.
Feel like I won 100 million. I found a good woman. I found a good woman. Like I won 100 million. I got a good woman. I got a good woman.
After spending 6 weeks on the chart, was number 4 last week, still holding the number 4 spot. It's Mr. Head Robinson with a cover version of All Night Long on the Reggae Global Entertainment label.
All night long, all night, all night, all night long, all night.
Was number 3 last week, still number 3 this week. It's Love Salute by Taurus Riley on the XTM Nation record label.
But you ain't never loved the way that I have. The type of love will take your heart and break it up. And now you're living in the past and can't go back. So sad. So if you find someone that you can lose, please surrender and love salute.
After spending 13 weeks on the chart, was number 2 last week, steadily holding number 2 spot this week. It's Coco T with Where You Gone on the Massive B record label.
Yesterday world, where you gone, gone, gone. Yesterday world, where you gone, gone, gone.
And now, here is your number 1 song for this week. After spending 16 weeks on the chart, was number 1 last week, still remain number 1 this week for a second consecutive week. It is Keith Cole with Who Cares on the Lovebirds record label.
Yeah. I hear you telling everybody how you glad I'm gone. Did you tell them how you cry whenever you're all alone? We know for both of us there will never, never be another. So forget your foolish pride. Let's get back together. Who cares who was right or wrong? Right or wrong? I just know I miss you, and by your side is where I belong.
That was a look at the 25 most played song all the way up to the number 1 song. Congratulating once again to Keith Cole for having the number 1 song a second week in a row. Who will be the number 1 next week? Will it be Keith Cole, or will a new band come and take the number 1 spot? Only way you can find out is to keep it locked right here to Reflection with Clinton Lindsay.
Welcome back to Reflections with Clinton Lindsay, right here on Flexx FM, every Wednesday from 5 o'clock until 6. And as promised, we have Brother Mitch. He's now, what, this is your second appearance here, Brother Mitch?
Break it first.
You're break it. And today we're going to have a little discussion, all three of us. Brother Mitch came up with this topic of, and every time there's an election about to run in Jamaica, they always bring this topic up. And once the election is over, no decision, nothing has ever been done, no action taken. And that's, we talk about it in the media a lot, about declaring Bob Marley a national hero. A lot of pro and cons where this subject is concerned. But today, myself, Marlon, and Mitch, we're going to jump into it and discuss that. What are the possibilities? Should he or should he not become a national hero? And with the recent declaration that Barbados had given the same status to Rihanna, kind of bring back that argument about Bob and most likely Miss Lou should be declared national heroes in terms of culture. So far, all the national heroes in Jamaica are politically connected, or on the political end. So, Brother Mitch, my question to you, as we get going with this discussion, why do you see it as important to talk about, to discuss?
Every part of the world that you go where music is concerned, Bob's name comes up. One of the things that you must remember, Jamaica is a small country, and to have a giant as Bob Marley, then it's important that he should be one of the national heroes.
His lifestyle, a lot of people, when it comes up, when this subject comes up, a lot of people go back to his lifestyle that would, hinder him from becoming a national hero. Would you have a problem with that?
I wouldn't have a problem with that. He without sin let him cast the first stone. Bob had done so much for Jamaica that it's important for his name to be recognized all over the world through music. So why not Jamaica? They say that king is never a king in his own country, and that just proves it.
What says you, Marlon?
Well, I'm in agreement that he should be recognized and given that status as a national hero because of what he has done through his musical work to give Jamaica that global recognition. I don't think you can put a value on what he has done in terms of bringing tourism to the country. Reggae has been Jamaica's #1 export from that time until now. Wow. So I don't think you can put a face value on it, and I think it's deserving of national honors.
Do you like again what I said to Mitch about his lifestyle? Does that have any bearing on?
No, I don't think one's lifestyle detracts from the actual contribution to the country.
I agree with that.
And some people would argue that they are national heroes who have already been recognized, who could be removed before, if you go by the lifestyle standard.
Right,
there's
true.
one national hero, for example, who they say promoted the genocide of Rasta in the early days. So it's a double-edged sword. So if you're going to prevent one from being honored for a lifestyle, then maybe some might have to be removed from the same thing.
Right. Like Mr. The man without sin cast the first stone.
Correct.
And Mitch, we also in the media talk about Miss Lou as a cultural icon. What are your thoughts of she being recognized as such?
The topic is Bob or Miss Lou.
Oh, not Bob and Miss Lou?
Or.
Okay.
Or. Miss Lou also have done a lot for Jamaica, because when you go back to the cultural side, patois, as we know it in Jamaica, which is derived from the British things, she had made such a drastic change in that everywhere that you go as a Jamaican, they expect you to talk like Miss Lou.
Wow.
Not only Jamaican, but other foreign people too.
Wow.
When they want to do something wrong, they go into Jamaica patois because they figure you can't understand.
Exactly, Jamaicans do that a lot, myself included. But let me ask you this though. Is she as popular around the world as Bob Marley?
No. Part of Miss Lou's thing is that she was one of the first to really go to a national school in England. And that's where she wrote all her poems and do all of that. But no, she's nowhere near Bob internationally. Locally, yes.
What do you say about that, Marlon? Where Miss Lou is concerned?
Well, I think
Mitch is saying Bob or Miss Lou. I was thinking Bob and Miss Lou.
Well, first off, I don't think there's any reason why it should be one or the other. I mean, we can go from 7 to 9.
Yeah.
But as far as Miss Lou's contributions to the culture itself, that can't be denied. In terms of having our dialect recognized by our own, because it was frowned upon in her time to speak patois. You had to speak the Queen's English. And she debunked that and made it acceptable for us to speak our own dialect and not be ashamed of it and have somebody tell us, say, you chat bad or blah, blah, blah. And I think that's a very important aspect of Jamaican culture. And as Brother Mitch alluded to, now the Jamaican language is accepted around the world. If you go anywhere and people recognize that you're a Jamaican, the first thing they say is, wow. You know?
From president to prince.
There you go.
The president says same thing. Wow, Jamaica.
Right. So, that being said, I think Miss Lou had a lot to do with that, with us accepting who we are and what we are first, and then taking it to the world. So I think what she has done is deserving of recognition.
So if you had your way, then you would declare both of them, not one over the other.
Yeah.
Do you think you'll see that in our lifetime?
It's possible. I think it's possible because the discussion has been out there for years, and I've noticed that it has been gradually gaining more supporters over the years.
And like I said in the opening, is that whenever an election is coming up, they usually use that to bait people. Because the average Jamaican want to see Bob Marley become a national hero. So if the political parties in Jamaica, that's a topic that they know they can generate interest.
Especially this year for Jamaica's 60th independence. It's more no than ever before, because you want to attract people in Jamaica for this. So using the name Bob Marley would attract. What they need to do though is to declare a place like Orange Street as Beach Street, similar to what they do in California, you know.
Where they do the stars.
The stars.
Okay.
I guarantee you, if they ever clean up Orange Street, where all the record shops used to be, that would be a tourist attraction that every person that comes to Jamaica wants to see that.
But when they talk about doing something near the park there in New Kingston, that
National,
yeah.
Yes, I would say yes, but I still think that Orange Street is the main concourse for Jamaican music and entertainers. So that's what it should be. If you start from North Street, don't even go up to Slipe End Road or Crossroad. Start from North Street, Beverly's Record. Come all the way down Music City, Studio One, Prince Buster, Bob, Derek Harriet, Clancy Eccles, name it.
Whoa.
They were all on Orange Street.
See when you watch Reflections, you get all this history. I had no idea that there were so many. I remember going around the parade.
VP.
Randy's and right around there.
Joe Gibbs was across the street.
And didn't Techniques have somewhere near there too?
Chancellor.
Okay. So you're saying if they could make that the Reggae Hall of Fame, Walk Hall of Fame, whatever. Okay.
And there have been discussions to that end. I was in Jamaica a couple months ago, and I visited that area. And they are in talks with government officials about making that happen.
They're doing something similar though. Some place downtown where they're putting up all these the
same
murals.
place. Same place.
It's the same place.
Yeah, same place on Orange Street. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Winston Riley tried to do something like that.
He did, and I spoke with him while he was working on that, and he was getting a lot of fight about it and backlash, but he was going forward with it.
And so, if you had it your way, Mitch, if you could make it happen, and it's gonna be one or the other, Bob or Miss Lou?
I will go for Bob right now. Bob transit the music into such a dimension that every part of the world you go, there's a reggae singer out there performing. And 9 out of 10 must do a Bob Marley song. One Love is an international hit all over the world. Every place that you go, anybody know One Love. So I would go for Bob right now.
And the idea of they're gonna judge him because he smoke weed and all them things, they wouldn't matter.
Again, to credit Bob for that also, because when the hippies were going out, Bob bring them right back with the weed and the culture and everything. So that has nothing to do with it. They fight against it from you were born until now. But it's now a medicine. For medical purposes, no. They are giving everybody, what I should say now, they're giving you the right to distribute it in different forms right now. So why kill the goose and lay the golden egg?
Let me answer this, Marlon. If the other day when Sharon Marley had said when the subject came up about Bob being declared, I know this subject comes up every now and then. She said if they do that for Bob, they must do that for Rita Marley. Were you aware she said that?
No.
Yeah, she did. She said if they do it for her father, because the mother was such a strong, was the backbone of Bob's success. How would you address that?
I would say that just about there is the saying that behind every successful man is a strong woman. And there's no doubt that Rita Marley has been there and a part of his business.
Right.
And, you know, from the time they had a little record shop,
Right.
They put up 4 boards and whatever. She's been there going around town distributing records, working with him.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as the status as a national hero, I would just say she's one of the important people who were there behind the scenes.
Right. And when it comes up to Bob Marley and, you know, his legacy, there are some people in Jamaica always bring up Peter and Bunny.
Yeah.
What role would they play in this? Would it be just Bob Marley out front by himself, or would you
I would say
incorporate?
so, basically, because I think the whole subject of him being honored in the first place is a result of his global impact.
Mm-hmm.
And globally, if you put up a picture of Bob Marley and put up a picture of Peter and or Bunny, most people are going to know who Bob Marley is. And people who know reggae music might say that's Bunny and that's Peter, but
The average
person is probably not going to recognize who they are.
What do you say about that, Mitch?
I agree with that. Something that you guys probably don't know. When I worked at Federal Records and Bob did his record, Rita used to come. I was the only man that was allowed to press the record for Rita. Why? Because you get paid per record. After press the 1,000, and you have to change the stamper, which is at half an hour work to change the stamper for 25 records. So I used to do that during my lunchtime. Ask Rita for one. Nope.
So you would advocate for her getting national hero status?
No. Marlon said beside. I said, no, Marlon said behind. That's the general procedure. I would say beside.
I agree with that.
I would say beside. Hand in hand, she was there with him. She sort of changed his lifestyle in so many ways.
Right.
Because as a woman, there's certain things that you would not agree with. But she was there to protect him, to guide him, to do everything. But no, as a no.
On the subject of the other whalers, Peter and Bunny.
Well, if you got to do that, then you got to go back to the original with Juna Braithwaite and Cherry. You got to go back there.
Yeah.
You know.
So Bob will just be Bob Marley. It will be national hero, and what comes after that will be, you know, the wife and.
And I think just like all the other national heroes, it's their face that are up there.
You're
that
absolutely right.
But there are people who were part of their journey who were instrumental in them achieving what they achieved.
And when you think of,
we don't recognize.
Yeah, when you think of Alexander Bustamante, his wife, Lady Bustamante, Lady Bird, she was a very important role. She had a very important role in his life. So did Marcus Garvey and Amy. Right. So the verdict is in, Marlon. What's the verdict?
I say put Bob in, give him the honor, and give Miss Lowe the honor as well. And there's no limit to how many national heroes we can have.
If it has to be joined, then so be it.
Right.
Bob and Miss Lowe.
Bob and Miss Lowe.
If it's singular, then it's Bob.
Well, people, you heard it right here on Reflections. I want to thank Brother Mitch for coming up this subject, and I'm sure you're going to have more topics that we're going to discuss in the future.
You got to talk to my people.
Oh, I talk to your people. you see how we stay though? I try to give him a little plug somewhere, give him some exposure. Now we have to talk to his people. All right, so you have your people, call my people. And Marla, you got to come by more often.
Hi, sir.
That's a given. You and I are coming too far not for you to be a part of Reflections. And I want to thank you guys. And what we're going to do now, we're going to take another break. And when we come back, TC from Flexx Radio, Flexx FM, will count down the Foundation Radio Network Top 30.
Well, Maxi Motors, place where you can buy affordable car on a budget. We do financing. We have a buy here, pay here program just for you. Most credit score is acceptable. The difference between Well Maxi Motors and others, we export your car to any Caribbean island. You can stop on in at any one of our locations and talk with one of our reps. We are conveniently located at 553 Northeast 28th Court, Pompano Beach. That's in Florida. That's 553 Northeast 28th Court, Pompano Beach. For more information and details on Well Maxi Motors, you can call us at 954-214-2071. That's 954-214-2071. Or go to our website at www.wellmaximotors.com. It's Well Maxi Motors. We take the hustle out of your car buying experience.
Come make me tell you about the things them way I want, sir. Back in the days when the dancehall used to warm, sir. When Clinton Lindsay used to bust them, make them want, sir. Whole heap of artists, Clinton bring come up America.
Hi, welcome back. It's now time to take a look at the Foundation Radio Network Top 30 Music Chart, which is compiled by veteran broadcaster Clinton Lindsay.
Coming in at number 30 this week, it's Barry Simon featuring Wicker Man with Medea Again. Number 29 is a new entry. She's Taken Already. Philip Fraser with Scaramouche. Number 28, Bad Card, Nadine Sutherland featuring DJ Liquid. Rolling in at number 27 this week, Import Corruption by Paul Elliott. Checking in at number 26, Forever Young, Timmy Love. Number 25, Take I Away, Manapana featuring Exile. Coming in at number 24, Heart to Heart, Hopeton Lindo. Number 23, we keep going, Turbulence. Checking in at number 22 this week, Dear Mr. Government, Sugar. Number 21, Honey, I Love You, Tony Roy. Number 20 this week, My Best Boy, Close to You, Joanna Marie. Coming in at number 19, Ja Is in My Corner, Black I Am featuring Kibaka Pyramid. Rolling up at the number 18 spot this week, Waymaker, Tony Anthony. Your number 17 song is Love Salute, Taurus Riley. Number 16 this week, Next to Me, Bushman. Checking in at number 15, Saving All My Love for You, King Banton. This week, number 14, Glory to Jah, Michael Rose. Look who is sitting steady at the number 13 spot, Cornerstone with the Marley Brothers. Number 12 this week, Close to You, Audley Rollin. Number 11, Don't Let Go, Ginger. And now, here's a synopsis of the top 10 songs from the Foundation Radio Network Reggae Music Chart. After being on the chart for only 6 weeks, last week it was number 14, moved 4 places up the chart to number 10 this week. It's Leroy Sibbles featuring Marcia Griffiths with You Make Me Feel, brand new on the Bright Beam production record.
My love, to tell you how I feel, my love, mere words could not explain.
Was was number 10 last week, moved one place up the chart this week to number 9. I'm talking about Yossa Safari with Golden Spoon Maroon on the Top Road record label.
Maroon with the golden spoon. Maroon with the golden spoon. We also need you, Maroon. We all are gonna need you, Maroon.
Was number 9 last week, moved one place up the chart to number 8 this week. It's Shaka Demus with Bill Bridges on the Bright Star Production record label.
We all have to come together. Build bridges for one another.
After being on the chart for 11 weeks, its peak position was number 2 last week. Now dropped 5 places down to number 7 this week. It's Romain Virgo with Good Woman on the Lifetime Music /VP record label. Number 8 last week, moved 2 places up the chart to number 6 this week. I'm talking about Ed Robinson with All Night Long on the Reggae Global Entertainment record label. Number 6 last week, now number 5 this week. I'm talking about Richard Stevens with a song entitled Valet on the Boom Rich Productions record label.
Valets will teach you lessons that hilltop knows nothing about. Lay there and listen carefully. You'll know who wanna get you out. You know your friends then when you're caught up in adversity.
Last week, this song was number 5, moved 1 place up the chart to number 4 this week. Burning Spear with a song entitled Mommy on the Burning Spear Music record label.
Job, mommy get laid off. Filling out application, don't mean you might get that call.
Holding down the number 3 spot this week, Shades with Money Over Life.
Money over life, I disagree. Money over life, I disagree.
Last week, number 3, coming in at number 2 this week is Keith Cole with a song entitled Who Cares on the Lovebirds record label.
Who cares? Who is right or wrong? Right or wrong? I just know I miss you, and by your side is where I belong.
After spending 14 weeks on the chart, last week it was number 1. This week it checked in at number 1 for the 3rd consecutive week. I'm talking about Coco T with Where You're Gone on the Massive B record label.
Yesterday world, where you gone, gone, gone.
This one is
Yesterday
Massive.
world, where you gone, gone, gone. It breaks my heart to see what's going on. So sad how them take away with freedom. So nowadays all the people have to lock down. Before night come, everybody gone peruse. Just like some old foul.
There you have it, your number 1 song for the 3rd week in a row, Coco T with Where You're Gone. Just want to say thanks to Mr. Clinton Lindsay and the entire Foundation Radio Network team for providing me, yours truly TC, with an opportunity to count down your top 30 song on the Foundation Radio Network chart. Ladies and gentlemen, join us next week when we will see if Coco T will continue to hold the number 1 spot for a 4th week, or is it the number 2 song this week will bump it to number 2 next week. Only way to find out is to keep it locked right here to Reflection every Wednesday between the hours of 5 and 6 on Clinton Lindsay Official on YouTube, and of course www.flexfm.online on the World Wide Web. Have yourself a great Wednesday.
Okay, and that's it for today's program. Again, we want to thank Brother Marlon Burrell and Brother Mitch Brother Mitch, the historian, and we have two historians right here. I've learned so much today that I didn't expect to, but I hope you guys out there also learned something from Reflections with Clinton Lindsay. Join me again next Wednesday, the same time, from 5 o'clock until 6, right here on Flexx FM. Spread the word, tell people about it, and let everyone know that we are here every Wednesday. Until next week, take care. I'm out.
Come make me tell you about the things them way I want, sir. Back in the days when the dancehall used to warm, sir. When Clinton Lindsay used to bust them, make them go on, sir. Whole heap of artists Clinton bring come up America. Some never know say Clinton Lindsay a promoter. Bring up the biggest set of artists from Jamaica. Like Super Cat and Mr. Early be the doctor. Whole heap of artists, nobody me can remember. Who can remember when them used to keep Jamaica? The kind of show that used to give out of awards to reggae artists from the world and from Jamaica. New York City where him used to do the raid. Come make me tell you about the things them way I want, sir. Back in the days when the dancehall used to warm, sir. When Clinton Lindsay used to bust them, make them go on, sir. Whole heap of artists Clinton bring come up America. Some never know say Clinton Lindsay a promoter. Bring up the biggest set of artists from Jamaica. Like Super Cat and Mr. Early be the doctor. Whole heap of artists, nobody me can remember. Who can remember when them used to keep Jamaica? The kind of show that used to give out of awards to reggae artists from the world and from Jamaica. New York City where him used to do the radio.
COP, ZPP, WHOT, and Flexx TV presents the pre-Thanksgiving Turkey and Chicken Giveaway on Friday, November the 18th at 3520 West Broad Boulevard. We'll be giving away more than